Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your host. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
Hey, great girlfriends.
Hey. Sybil, did I tell you that the other Sunday I was at church and they got me to go down to like the meet and greet for parents of like little kids? And when I tell you, they kind of pushed me down there.
You in Playdate land, but go ahead.
I know. Not in my element, okay, people? Not in my element. I wanted to pick up my child and leave. But anyway, so I go down there and I'm talking to two of the ladies that were downstairs. They had children in the nursery as well. And the lady was like, I know your voice. And I was like, I don't know. Because sometimes I'm like, you just don't know if people are listening to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I have a podcast. Do you know our voice? She's like, oh, the Great Girlfriends, Brandis. And I was she was like, oh my God, I listen to your podcast all the time. I love it.
It
is so crazy when people recognize me by my voice.
Yes. But it's very distinct, B. It's super raspy. It's got all that syrup.
I call it sexy.
Well, I can't. I'm gonna let Rich lead all that. Look, it's super raspy. It's got a lot of syrup on it. It's got all that good Southern like swirl and draw. It's all that.
Let me tell you something. The Great Girlfriends get all that. The Great Girlfriends. Okay, so I can clean up my speech quite a bit.
Oh my goodness! Because for example,
I can clean up my speech quite a bit. However, for this Great Girlfriend podcast, because y'all are all my sisters and y'all are my great girlfriends, y'all get the real deal Southern, what do you call it? Syrupy?
That syrup, that swirl.
You get the swirl, you get the raspy, you get all of that, okay?
Oh my gosh. No, her cleanup is legit. And she tried to judge me for my Playdate voice, but I caught her in these streets with her Playdate voice live front and center. And I hit her up on IG. I said, someone please tell Brandis that she is fully in Playdate voice mode.
That is just, I know how to speak when I need to speak. Now,
I'm just saying, don't judge me for Playdate voice.
Look, I know how to get I know how to get some diction when I need to have diction. Now we have this podcast going out to 300,000 women plus around the globe, and I've decided not to have diction.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. I like to keep things 100, so
exactly.
But I do want to acknowledge that you had your Playdate voice on full Front Street, and
So I would like to say that's not my Playdate voice. That was Brandis with diction.
Okay. Well, moving forward. Great girlfriends, we hope that you are having a fantastic spring, because when I tell you spring is in the air, I'm telling you, and I get to get a good dose of that southern sun and wind and breeze when I go to Memphis to hang out for a little while with my family. But most importantly, I hope you're prepping to head to the conference. Plain and simple. June 13th through 15th, New York City. You need to be there. Why? Because we're there. All the great girlfriends are there. It's such a really genuine family reunion. Like, I really do feel like every year we have a chance. Some of the women that have come from year one that are still coming to the conference, indoctrinate the new women into the community. And it's just such a moment that I feel can never be replicated.
Absolutely not. I love it. Well, so when we were off air, Sybil gave me a suggestion and we decided to go with it.
We're going with this. So this is what we need from you. If you were on the fence about the conference, first of all, this moment is going to get you off the fence. What we'd like is we will trade you a review on iTunes for a discount towards your ticket to the conference. I know. Excited, right? I felt that.
That's super exciting.
I felt that. Because you don't need to be at home while all of this greatness is happening June 13th through 15th. So we're inviting you to go on the iTunes, leave a review. When you leave your review, you screenshot it, email us. Guess what? We will send you a discount code towards a percentage off of your ticket. And I'm excited because I believe for those of you that thought you couldn't come or were unsure about your finances, there's a sign. Get there.
That's it. That's it. So email us at thegreatgirlfriends@gmail.com. We actually do have an official email, y'all. That's not at gmail.com.
We do. But it just feels so,
I know,
real.
because y'all are friends. We give y'all the Gmail.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got to read this review, Sybil.
Okay, read it.
Okay. So this is from J. Celeste Carr. It says, I love y'all, Sybil and Brandis. You ladies are such powerhouses. I truly enjoy listening to your podcast every week. In fact, I get excited every time my iPhone sends me a notification that a new episode is available. I learn something new from every episode, whether y'all give us some powerful nuggets from the Sybil and Brandis playbook or feature an amazing great girlfriend on the show. Brandis, I love your Amen Corner idea and the handkerchief. I will be in my office at work trying not to laugh so loud. Thank y'all so much for your consistency and persistence and giving us great content every week, even when the going got tough sometimes. You ladies are the bomb.com, and I am grateful to have you all a part of my life, even though we haven't personally met yet. You all give me the motivation and inspiration to fight the good fight of my dreams and vision that God has for my life. God bless.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
She is so good for our self-esteem.
I'm telling you. Thank you so much, J. Celeste Carr.
Oh my goodness. And we love you all the same. Thank you so much. And so J. Celeste Carr, we are dedicating this episode to you. And I hope that this content in this episode really moves you from one level to the next. This is one of the panels from 2018's conference, and it is the Doers and Disruptors panel. And the panel is called Disrupting You, Disrupting What You Think is Possible.
Yeah, and it had, our great girlfriend, Tiffany, the Budgetnista, Aliche, was on that panel, along with Sharia Jackson, who is a senior editor at Essence Magazine and author, and Tracy Coleman, one of the founders of Curl Fest.
Yes, such a powerful conversation, an excellent way to chase Mickey's Morning Power Up last year. And just a reminder that our limits are only the ones that we place in our heads. So J. Celeste Carr and every other great girlfriend, enjoy this week's episode. And after you're finished listening and taking your notes and writing your reviews and sharing with your friends, log on to thegreatgirlfriendsconference.com and grab your ticket. And we will see you in June.
Awesome. And we can't wait to get all these emails with these screenshots of comments.
Hey.
Right?
Hey.
Right?
Enjoy.
We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, great girlfriends. We're inviting you to join us for the 2019 Doers and Disruptors Conference, June 13th through the 15th in New York City. This 3-day event includes exciting receptions, life-changing panels, incredible mastermind groups, connections, and more. This year, we had over 100 great girlfriends from around the world connect with like-minded women and create incredible memories. Now, it's your turn to be a part of this exclusive event. Visit our website, www.thegreatgirlfriendsconference.com, to grab an early bird ticket for yourself and your greatest girlfriend. We cannot wait to see you there.
So we're super excited to have our next group of panelists that are going to come up and talk about disruption. So I would love to have our speakers.
Here we are.
Here we go. Okay. All right. So were y'all there last night? Did y'all see who won the Great Girlfriend of the Year? Yeah. She's here today. Miss Tiffany, the Budgetnista.
Yes!
Come on up. Yep. Hey. I'm a super.
Hey.
Miss Miss Sharia Jackson.
Come on up.
I'm sneaking a hug.
You look so cute.
This is very southern, a short set.
Right here. And Miss Tiffany. Tracy Coleman. So I did not announce who they were. So Sharia, you guys know the Budgetnista. If you're not following the Budgetnista, you need to follow the Budgetnista, okay? All right. That's Tiffany the Budgetnista. Tracy Coleman actually is one of those people who teaches us that you can do it all, because she runs her own agency. She's the founder of Curl Fest. She has her own nonprofit as well, and does a ton. Like, if you look at her social media, I live vicariously through her on her boats with a nice, handsome man. So she's just killing it. We're super excited to have her. Miss Sharia actually just wrote a book. False Brides, and she is also the relationships editor at Essence Magazine. Did I get that right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
At Essence Magazine. So we're super excited to have you guys, and we are going to have a conversation about disruption. You have a chair?
Yes. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm a host then. So, and did you announce Tiffany?
I did.
You did. I missed that because I was grabbing paper. So we're excited to have you ladies today. Thank you so much for being here. As you saw, we have a room full of women who are overdue for a disruption. And I've been through my own personal disruptions where life told me to stop, take a look, make some assessments, eliminate some things, integrate some things. Brandis has been through it. We've been through it together with business, personal, with family. We want to know from you, if you could share with our great girlfriends, a story or a time where you've had to interrupt or disrupt something that was a pattern that was going to keep you from where you wanted to be. If you don't mind sharing that. We'll start with you, Tracy.
Oh, yeah? Okay. It's interesting. There's like voluntary disruptions and involuntary disruptions, right? Sometimes it's not something you expect.
Yeah.
And so, a few years ago, my first big disruption was being laid off. And it was unexpected. I've been working in advertising and marketing for, at that point, 10 to 15 years, and picked up the phone one day and found out that was my last day at my job. And so at that point, you have a choice to try to go back to what just ended or to start something new. And I took that as an opportunity to decide, okay, this is a shift that it can create a change for the better. And that's where I started my own agency. What's funny, it's interesting now, my latest disruption is actually voluntary. And so the work that I've done with my agency in the past few years, I'm actually reducing that to spend more time on my nonprofit. So voluntarily reducing the amount of money I'm bringing in to do what I'm passionate about is a big disruption, and it's actually a little scary, but it feels right.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
So my probably most pivotal disruption was going from being a preschool teacher to not. So if you're fortunate, like I was, I knew early on what my purpose was, kind of. I think I intrinsically knew, but I didn't know on the outside. So I was a teacher. I was teaching to my doll babies when I was little, AKA bossing them around, right? Then I taught Sunday school. I just have always taught. And so when I became a preschool teacher, it was natural. But then one day I realized it didn't fit anymore. And I didn't know what to do because I thought, well, teaching is what you're supposed to do. And I thought maybe I was burnt out. And during the recession, the school where I worked closed, and I was relieved because even though I really didn't have the funds to be able to pay for my mortgage and everything else I had going on, I knew a while before that it was time to go. But I said, well, I don't know what else to do. I've never done anything else. And I disrupted my pattern of, I could have easily gone back and found another job teaching. And I said, I'm going to find what else I'm supposed to do. And I knew that unemployment was going to last 2 years. So I said, you have 2 years, because post-recession, they gave you that little extra year. So I was like, let me take advantage of that. And I tried everything from event planning, everything from tutoring, everything you can think of. And I kept going back to teaching. I couldn't understand why. It's because I had created these rules for myself that teaching happened in a classroom in this way. And once I disrupted that thinking and I realized that I can teach anything, and financial education was something I'd always been passionate about. And when I started doing that, that light that came on when I used to teach preschool came on again. And I realized that I had created this weird, crazy box for myself to live in, and I broke out of that, and now that's what I do. I'm still a teacher. I'm always a teacher. No matter what, I was born and created to be a teacher, and as long as I do that, I know that I'm on my right path. I love it. I love these ladies. I'm Sharia, as Brenda said. I'm the author of Boss Bride, The Powerful Women's Playbook for Love and Success, senior editor at Essence. And when you asked that question, I was like, well, which of the many disruptions that have come my way? So I won't tell the layoff story. I'll talk about a personal disruption because my book is called Boss Bride. And the day I got the contract from my publisher to write the book, I broke up with the man I thought I was going to marry. And so it created this incredible opportunity to choose me at a higher level and to really stand in what the mission of this book and really the message I was looking to share with women, that it wasn't about your job title, it wasn't about your relationship status, but what if you treated every day like one of the best days of your life? Because weddings are beautiful, but it's no fun to tell a bride this is the best day of your life, because it's like you got a whole other life ahead of you. And so I want you to always choose you. So it's really about how our personal and professional lives intersect. And at every book event I've had thus far, and from women I know, women whose weddings I've been at, they've come to me and said, you know what, Sharia, I'm going through a divorce. And I tell them one word every time: congratulations. Because we live in a world that wants to define what your disruption is to you. When I was laid off, people called me like somebody died. Like, oh my gosh, girl. And for a second, after the third call, I'm like, I wasn't feeling bad. Now you are. Should I? Am I not reacting? And so when you are in a space of disruption, you have to protect and share the story of that disruption. So I always tell people, yes, I'm very grateful to work at Essence. The company I was laid off in the recession was Essence. And so I talk about how you can face a disruption with dignity, so that obviously I didn't leave in a certain way, the fact that I can say I work there now. Disruption is really new beginnings, right?
Yeah, you claim it, because people will try to write the story of your disruption. Of like, oh, if that how, I don't know how. Like, no, I'm actually going, and not to make light of trauma and things we didn't ask for, but we get to interpret the experience.
I was at the park the other day, and this big tree had fallen over, a huge tree, and I went to investigate because I was like, nosy, why not? And I noticed at the root of the tree, right, like where the stump was and the tree was over, there were little plants growing. And I said, look at Jesus, that even in this tree's darkest time of have been like fell over, right? That new beginnings were growing right where that tree had broken off. And I said, is this same God, right? And I was like, that was such a lesson, because sometimes we think when you lose something that you've been just like, oh my, it's over. No, that's literally sometimes whatever is old has to be ripped from you so something new can grow. Absolutely. Because we're stubborn. So sometimes God is like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and knock this tree down because she don't listen. I knew I wasn't supposed to be a preschool teacher anymore. Yeah. The kids started to get bad and worse. The parents were even more terrible, wanting to fight. And I'm like, Tiffany, you don't even like coming to work anymore. And every day I was coming. And it wasn't until one day it was like, there's no more school left for you to come to. And I couldn't have done that. Now, I run a 7-figure-a-year business. As a preschool teacher, I was making $39,000 a year. There's nothing wrong with that, but this was what was waiting for me.
Waiting for you, my God.
600,000 women. That's how many women follow in my community. 600,000. They needed to be served, and I could not do that. I couldn't just be serving. There's nothing wrong because I love teaching 15 3-year-old. That's great, but there was something greater for me. Yeah. That place was meant to prepare me to do what I'm doing now. Because if you could teach preschool, let me tell you, you could teach anything. So God was like, this was just where you're supposed to learn, not stay. Yes. Don't be afraid to allow him to move you from where you are to where you ought to be. It sometimes looks hard, but it's part of the journey.
Oh, it's so good.
I love that. How did the disruption challenge your vulnerability or your comfort with being vulnerable? Because a lot of times when we go through some kind of disruption, we have to tell people. Sometimes it can feel embarrassing. Sometimes we have to really open ourselves up to receive. So how did it challenge your vulnerability?
I feel like, a lot of us put pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And it's gotten worse. Like, it's funny, before like Instagram and Facebook, it was like you could just be you.
Yes.
And then now there's you, and then there's like the social media and social media will lead you to believe that everybody's life is perfect. And I think that what you have to learn is that it's okay to be vulnerable as a person. Like in your house, if you're bawling all day long over something, I'm not saying to go on Facebook and do that, but it's also okay to not act like you're okay elsewhere. Okay. And I think that, for me, the disruptions that I've had were usually unexpected. And I think, interestingly enough, my layoff happened. I was visiting my family. I wasn't at work. I was in Houston visiting family. So I'm there with my parents, my sister's husband. We're about to do like a christening for my niece. So the entire family is in the room when I got the phone call. And so I had a choice to like, okay, do I act like nothing's wrong and worry about this later? Or do I just be open and be like, this just happened? And I was actually very scared. And every time you have to tell somebody something happened that you are either embarrassed about or ashamed of, you feel imperfect. But I think the thing that you have to learn is that is actually powerful. There's so much power in sharing your story of whatever you feel like is not perfect. And that's one thing I've learned as a writer. I'm a travel writer. And the people I look up to are the people that share their disruptions in a way that is so honest. This woman I follow, I'm just like, the story you just told brought me to tears, and you told that to strangers. And I feel that I was so blessed by what they shared. I've been encouraged to be more vulnerable and be more open and honest about how I'm feeling and when I'm not okay. And that takes a lot to Black women especially are taught to be like, you know, I got this, like we got this. And sometimes you don't, and that's okay. You know, and it's your choice to how public you want to be about that. What is your girlfriends, your small circle, or, you know, your entire community on Instagram or Facebook. It's okay to not be okay.
I like that. It's okay not to be okay. And you hit a lot of important points around why we don't feel safe to open up, right? The shame piece and how we are conditioned to believe we are judged, and as Black women to be conditioned that you don't tell what's going on outside of this house and those narratives. And so it's interesting when you talk about being vulnerable. This past Sunday, I probably did one of my most vulnerable shares, and it wasn't sad. It was doing a Facebook Live with my dad. And I talked about in my book how I didn't know I had trust issues. Some people are aware they had trust issues. I didn't. So I knew I was friendly. I didn't realize that you can be nice and not be really that open or expect anything from anybody else. And that next season, your greatness, your next breakthrough requires that you get support from other people. And so I was someone who didn't expect support. So this season has disrupted me to expect to be supported, but also be more vulnerable to share my story. And so I talk about how my dad moving away when I was young, you know, sadly, too common of a story. Wasn't really that present in my childhood and showing back up later in life. And I've had so many people just say thank you, because by him giving him a space to talk about his decisions, how he's forgiven himself, how I've forgiven myself and him, I have had so many people reach out. So part of that vulnerable piece and giving ourselves permission to be totally human, particularly as Black women, is so important, because we do live a life. Look at us on where? Is this 5th or 6th Avenue in New York City? Like, look up and see where we are. And you know, I'm from the South. My grandmothers are from the South. And so the idea that we live a life so different from them, part of it is giving ourselves permission to be totally human in a ways that generations of Black women did not have. And so that vulnerability piece asks for us to tell all of it, you know, and I think that's where my power lives, because to your point, the shame or the feeling of being judged has us not bring all of ourselves, and really that's where our power lives, when people can see all of you. So,
and one thing I actually learned is that once you let that wall down and allow people to support you, you wouldn't believe how excited people are to help you. You think that you're burdening someone by saying, hey, I'm not okay, or hey, I need help. And it was crazy to me to see like people were so like, oh, I'd love to help you with whatever this is. And they got joy out of it. And that was new to me, because you think you're burdening someone by asking for support or asking for help or asking for money or asking for a favor. And it's like there are people who actually are looking to support others. They enjoy, like literally enjoy it. And so don't feel like reaching out for support or you know, being open with what's going on. You actually blessing somebody else by doing that, because they're looking for someone to help.
Have any of you ever struggled with asking for help? Let's see a show of hands. Every woman in this room, I am proud, because that is something, right? Amen. That is something that we struggle with. I don't know what it is in our bones that tells us we have to be superhumans all the time and be the best and do everything the best. I don't know if it's child rearing or whatever, but asking for help. I want to know what that opened up. Tiffany, you talked about what that opened up for you. 600,000 plus women were waiting to answer the call to your purpose. Sharia, when you wrote the book, you talked about the other side. What was waiting on the other side of you asking for help? When you thought, you know, asking for help would make you look like you were fragile and broken and wounded and unprepared, because we never want to look unprepared, right? And we thought people would be behind your veil judging you, and maybe there's some that were, but then there were others that were waiting. What was waiting? What feeling and what release was waiting on the other side of you asking for help?
when I finally asked for, because up until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I was doing my business myself. It was like 20 people in one. and I was doing everything myself, and I needed help, but the help that when I did have help, I didn't let them help me. We do that, right? Like, okay, like you clean up before the cleaning lady comes. You know you do it, you know? You're like, oh, she can't see all this, you know? And you're like, what? So when I finally asked for help, it allowed me to grow. Because I realized that I was stunting my growth because I was doing so much I couldn't possibly reach up because my hands were too busy fixing what was down here. And every season there reaches a point where I like right now, we've reached a point of growth in the company. And I know that when I feel stuck, it means we need more help. I recognize it now though. Before, I would just like, well, if I work harder, or if I wake up earlier, go to bed later and do all this other stuff. But now I recognize it's key that you need to be talking to yourself all the time. I'm always talking to myself. How do you feel? What do you think? How do you feel? What's this? Did how was that energy? Because I want to recognize the pattern sooner. Because they're not going to go away. It's just you get better.
Yes.
You know? And so I was like, so now I recognize, I'm like, wow, things are slowing down. I already know we were here 6 months ago. It means I need help. And so then I hire someone, and all of a sudden, business doubles or triples. And then you have if you get the right help, almost every single time you hire someone, business increases or whatever, your blessing or whatever increases. And so asking for help took me from, I would say, because I'm the numbers girl. So if you don't know, the Budget Niece is a financial company specifically geared toward helping women. And so probably, I want to say 3 years ago, I was making, like the company as a whole, making $150,000 a year, which is like good money because it was just me, right? So someone came in and said, I want to help you. I was like, I don't know. Ended up, now he's my business partner. But at the time, I was like, I don't even know you like that. You trying to holler, I got somebody, whatever, And so, but I allowed him to help me. And now from $150,000 a year to, that was probably, I want to say 2014, 2015, to this year, we'll probably cross over $3 million. Last year, it was like 1.5 last year. Here's the thing, I'm limited in my knowledge. Yes. He brought something to the table I did not know. There are literally some doors that cannot be opened from the outside. I don't care how smart you are. Yes. Me and Tika were just talking about this. Someone has to open the door from the inside and allow you in. I didn't even know there were some ways to make money. I'm like, wait, that's legal? We could do this? We could do that? How would I know? But I would not know if I didn't have that help. I don't care how many books you read. Some things are not found in books and YouTube videos, and some things come from someone coming on and assisting you. And our goal is, so I have a team, we call ourselves a unicorn squad. It's like 99% women of color, like two brothers. And I asked the unicorn squad, what do you guys want? Like, what I want you to pick our next 3 big audacious goals. And one of big audacious goal they chose after some pushing was they want the average full-time team member to make $100,000 a year. And I said, okay, in 2 years, that's our goal. And so they asked for that, and I said, okay. And me and the CFO, we created a plan. We're going to hit that goal. Yeah. We're going to hit that goal because we already know how much we need to make, and I was like, and now everyone is on board because look what happens when you ask for help. Everyone is putting their back into it because who doesn't want to make $100,000 a year, right? And so business has been growing. We probably will hit even greater than that, quite honestly, but that's what happens. When you ask for help, you allow for different energy to enter into your space, and that energy can allow you to grow to the next level. You can only grow but so far on your own. Everyone needs to be watered, planted. Everyone needs the sun. It's not just you as a seed. Everything needs to pour into. Even the things that you don't think are. I had someone who came in and she helped me grow, but then she also tore me down. But I'm grateful for her because she brought something to me because I used to think that it wasn't me, that I needed her in order to grow. And then when she left, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna fail. We grew ×3 within like 2 weeks of her leaving. Wow. And what it made me realize is that, like, Tiffany, you're Michael Jordan. Now, do you need some assistance from Scottie Pippen and this and that? But don't let anybody else come in your business and pretend like they're Jordan. So help is not the same thing as taking over and becoming you. But yes, help is, it's everything. It has changed the trajectory of my life. My kids will have. As a result, my kids will have as a result of asking for help. So if you're waiting on the light bulb moment, God is like, this is it right here. This is it.
This is it.
And you hit a lot of important points. Because one of the things you talked about was how smart you are. To be a great girlfriend, you're smart. And the smarter you are, the more at risk you are for self-sabotage.
Yes.
Because we're the type of women like, oh, I can figure it out. And so you talked about courageously stepping out of your own way, right? To say, I've gotten myself, all of us has gotten ourselves probably as far as we can get ourselves of what we know, what we have. So that next level to get to the $1 million business will require us to step up and expect to be supported. And that also requires you to have people like a Mickey in your life, people who see your very best and bring that out of you at a higher level. And for you to do one big thing, which until you hire this team and paying, is to ask better questions.
Yes.
Because you would be surprised. I'm always surprised. And even for myself, I got relationships in my job title. And even if we all took out our phone and you look at the 5 most powerful people that you know, how often are you calling them? One of the things I talk about in my book is the most important thing every woman possesses is the ring. It is not a piece of jewelry. It is who can you call and who calls you. And so in each chapter, there's a prompt for you to get on that phone, because your breakthrough, your next big business deal, the next man you marry, all those things live on the other side of you picking up that phone. And so it requires us to trust and know that we're so worthy of being supported. Because before you can get the type of team Tiffany has, you have to know you're worthy of having that type of team. And for a lot of us, I look at the data for professional women. We hear the data that women and women of color at the top, the most entrepreneurs starting the highest level of businesses. It breaks my heart that the majority of businesses are still solopreneurs. There's nobody on our teams. That is a problem. We won't get to these levels of success until we give ourselves permission to expand, but also to trust that help is on the way. I was at a Lisa Nichols conference. This is the last thing, I know we got to wrap up, but it was a mantra that shifted my life. And we're sitting there and she's talking about what's the mindset you have to shift to get to your next breakthrough. And the lie that was running my life and had me exhausted was I have to do everything myself. And so you ask Sybil, what's on the other side of a team is sleep.
I love it.
It's sleep. But that requires you shifting and letting go of, I got to do it all, to what if everybody in this room, on this planet, was on your team. I said support is all around me. So I have to write it on a post-it because I'm smart, and that's what a high level of sabotage. So stop trying to figure it out. So every time I'm going down a road I haven't gone, who can help me with this? I write it in my journal. So I have to go find, who can help me? Tiffany about to get a call. Like, she can help me. And so to give ourselves permission to be supported.
I love that.
That's so good.
The ring, I love
what you're
that.
talking about is so important. Scarcity is a lot of times what's limiting many of us. And we have to get rid of that scarcity mindset. We talk about that a lot on the podcast. We hear it a lot woven through each one of our speakers, is that we as women tend to think we don't have enough when we actually live in so much abundance we've untapped. You know, it's untapped abundance. Brandis, are we going to just take a few questions? This is an opportunity to get specific with these 3 beauties. I have more. I know Brandis has more. So y'all will take it. We'll take it. But is there anyone that'd like to ask a question in the room? We have a question here in the front.
So what were your...
Hold on 1 second. We're going to get you a mic. Thank you.
Hi, ladies. Hi, queens. So what was your disruptive moment of self-worth where you were like, I deserve better? So I know you spoke about it a little bit, but I think we tie that to career, or we tie that to so many other things where you're like, I am worth this. Then how did you approach that once you discovered that?
For me, it was like, so when I let go of like my key right hand at the moment, like at one point I was allowing her to talk to me crazy because I was like, okay, whatever, as long as she stays, because we need her. And I just remember sitting and she was talking to me crazy. And at the time, and I'm gonna share this because we're a room full of women, me and my husband have been, for a year we were trying to get pregnant. I was pregnant. Afterwards, I had a miscarriage. And I remember, it wasn't her fault, but I remember thinking like, I was feeling bad all day and I could feel it. And I remember thinking, I should be at the doctor, but I'm here letting her cuss me out because I need her. And it was literally a moment of life and death. And I thought to myself, is this how we live? We're gonna put your life over because you think you need this woman? And that day I told her, you are poison. You didn't cause this miscarriage. Like, this is just my body. Like, this is what happened. But I allowed you to, because I told her I wasn't feeling well. I said, she knew I was pregnant. She knew it was my first time. I told her all of that. And she was just like, well, we still got to have this conversation. I remember thinking, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I'm broke after this. You won't be here. And so, but you don't want to take it. It shouldn't have to go that far. said I would never ever put myself in that position again, that I would allow fear and allow someone to make me feel like that I needed them, so much so that I would put them over my own health. And I haven't since, but yeah, no, that was the moment of like, what are you really doing? You know, like, what are you really doing? Like, nothing's more important. And so everyone on my team knows. Like, we've got women who've had kids, women whose mothers have been sick. They know that my rule of family comes first, second, and third. That like, I can't want for me and not want for you. That like, you don't put any of this over what's happening at home. You have kids, like my CFO, we needed this big report, her son is sick. I said, girl, you better go see the Manny. Don't worry about us. We're not gonna die over here. The report can wait. You know, and so if wherever you are, if that's not the feeling that you're getting, that you and your family come first, second, and third, is that really the place where you want to be? Because at the end of the day, what matters more? Yes. What matters more? And so I can tell you from someone who's had nothing, no money, to someone with a seven-figure income right now, more money doesn't make me more happy. Once you get past what I call beyond broke, once you have enough to pay your bills, and then, right? Once you get past that, you know, then the additional money doesn't make me happier. What makes me happier is playing with my niece and my nephew. What makes me happier is hanging out with my husband. Like, we're beyond broke, so now it's really family, friends, and love that adds to it. So yeah, so like, there's so much more to life than like what they make seem important. I would hate for you to chase your whole life thinking if I just make $1 million, my life would be happier. I'm here to tell you, made it. My life's not happier as a result. I'm not unhappy because clearly it's nice to have a little something. No, but that's not what adds to my life now. Yeah. But yeah, that was my moment of like, what are we doing? Like, life and death.
Yeah.
I was just going to quickly say, I was pushed in a similar way. I only say this because I think a lot of us sometimes we find ourselves, we don't grab our power, but we found ourselves pushed into our powers. Mm-hmm. And so I share in the book how I had felt like I'd earned a promotion that I didn't get. And so all of a sudden, I'm so grateful it didn't come, because I wouldn't have had to sit down and say, ask myself, were you worthy? Have you earned it? And so in that moment, I had to sit down and make, you know, my brag book. And like, what have you accomplished? You've been working hard, because we get in our rhythm and we never really count what we've created. Mm-hmm. And so I made a whole 20-page deck of all the things I had generated in that company. And not only did it create more opportunity, and I did get my promotion, I share that whole story in the book, but it also attracted other opportunities because I remembered who I was. Mm-hmm. And so you always need to slow down enough, give yourself permission to check in with how amazing you are. And so we're at the halfway point in the year. This is the perfect time for you to say, what did I generate this year? What did I generate this decade? And to celebrate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one in the back we're going to take.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. My question is, what questions did you lady ask yourself when you realized you needed to do a partnership? Like you said that someone stepped into your life and went from 150 to 6 figures. So what questions did you ask yourself? Okay, I'm doing this by myself. I'm making good money, but it can go further. So what do you say? Like, how do you get there?
The one question just to ask, could they bring something to the table that you cannot? If not, what do I need you for? You know, right? So if you can't bring something to the table that I'm not able to, then it's not a partnership. So remind yourself of that, because so many of us will reach out and we'll say to someone that we admire, can I partner with you? What you're really saying is, can I do this? Leech on. Girl, where are we going? Well, what are you bringing? You know, you have to bring something to the table. So lead with that. Like my mentee now, she is a strategic genius. She led with a whole strategic plan of how I can improve my Facebook group. And then after it worked, then she was like, can you be my mentor? I said, that was a good one, and yes, I can. Because she brought something to the table. Yes. So yes, that's number one question.
I think a question I also ask is what's possible? Mm-hmm. And we're so stuck on like the problem. Like the problem is I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I'm worried about whatever. And we lose sight and focus of what's possible. Yeah. So like, what's possible if I find the money for this thing, like your dream is out there. This thing you've been wanting all your life is out there. Your passion is out there. And if you can focus on what's possible instead of what's right in front of you, that'll probably get you there. And I know for me, I think, Curlfest is in its 5th year. And, I've been the little event planner behind it for, in the beginning, running around and doing floor plans and creating things and figuring things out. And that's cool when you have 300 people in a room, or even 1,000 people in the park. But it grew so fast, so fast. We went from maybe barely 1,000 the first year, and we're were about 15 last year, 50,000 people.
Amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you get to a point where it's like, I don't have this, and we don't have the money for this, and we're not sure how this is going to happen. But what's possible if you let go of that? And I think what was possible, a year ago, we asked for help. For the first time, I wasn't behind a lot of things because it was beyond my scope of knowledge, right? With the number of people that are there. And what I never forget, when we got there last year, it was the first time in 4 years we slept the day before. It was the first time we got dressed before we got there, got on stage, and looked out. And when I saw the sea of people that were there, that was the possibility. That was the 15,000 people that we never could have done on our own without asking for help. So think beyond the barrier, whether it's money or staff or things you just don't know how to do. Try not to focus on that and focus on what the possibility is out there if you can get past that obstacle. And then that should keep you totally motivated.
That's excellent. Yeah. So we're going to wrap this panel up. You'll have opportunity to touch base with our panelists outside, but we want to, sorry, Brandon.
I just wanted to say one thing. So Tiffany Harding got up earlier and talked about the We Work Creator Awards. Well, Tracy Coleman was actually a recipient of that award last year.
So ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I see all the faces. I saw notes going. I'm seeing everyone twirling. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and your intention today. And hopefully you guys are drawing from the intention they put forward and you can pay it forward to the next great girlfriend. So while we're heading to, we're going to introduce our next panel, take a few pictures, turn to someone, tell them what you just learned. Give a second to share. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That's a good little moment.